Alright, CNT120, Chapter 4, we're moving on to UDP. Now we just left off with TCP, and we looked at the TCP three-way handshake. And something we need to keep in mind is that is all in place for reliable data transfer, but it adds all that overhead of like, hey, let's get all synchronized, let's number everything. That adds overhead to our data transfer, so I'm using little air quotes. It kind of slows it down, but in the name of reliability. Well, the next protocol on our list, UDP, User Datagram Protocol. This gets used to the transport layer for, I just need to send it quickly. I need just enough information on it to be able to send it quickly. So this one, it's not going to do any error checking sequencing, so it's more efficient than TCP. I hate to use the word unreliable, but it's like, by definition, it's unreliable. If TCP was reliable, UDP is not going to do all those things, so by definition, it's unreliable. But it gets used for quick sending of data. I need to quickly send data there. So stuff like DNS and DHCP that I just need to get it there quickly, these upper layer protocols are going to use UDP to get it there quickly. Another thing to think about is things like audio or video transmissions. We don't really want to delay these. So adding the overhead of TCP would add delay to those transfers. And as I like to joke, if you're listening to an audio stream and all of a sudden the audio stream starts doing this because it's buffering, that would be kind of the result of TCP. Now, I'm exaggerating, but it's like, well, TCP is like, I'm going to make sure every single packet gets there. And if it delays a little bit, so what? Well, with things like voice or video, that delay is more annoying than occasionally missing some frames of data here and there. So things like voice or video are going to use UDP to get it there quickly and sacrifice a couple frames of things here and there. So here, UDP is useful for this voice and video and applications where I need speed as opposed to reliability. So things like DNS, things like network time protocol, where this is the part that updates your clocks on your computer, some of your routing updates. All of these things are going to happen. We need them to happen quicker. It may not be a lot of data, so I just rather get there quicker. And again, I don't have a button that I can change TCP UDP. It doesn't work that way. It's just the nature of these upper layer protocols are, we need it quickly, so boom. Or I need it reliably, so boom. Okay. So with UDP, I have a very little header. This is my header fields. That's it to send my data. Just enough addressing to get it there. So let's take a look at our packet capture from before. I'm going to pull our packet capture from before. We left off looking at our TCP three-way handshake. So real quickly, if I look at one of these TCP headers, let me slide this up a little bit. Here is my TCP header, source port, destination port, sequence number, acknowledgement number, all the flags. I'll collapse those. Here's our window size. All of these headers are in TCP, but they're all necessary to get data there reliably. Well, let's go back. Looks like around packet 290 there. I'm going to close that filter out, and I'm going to go back to one of my DNSs. Right there is my DNS for Formula 1. Let's look at its header now. So here, this is DNS. Let's open the UDP header. Well, we see it's using UDP. That's it. That's all the header fields. That's all there is. The source port was, hey, this is coming from my browser. Destination port is the DNS service running on the server. That's what 53 is. Here's my, data, if you will. It was the DNS query. And that's pretty much it. Okay? That's pretty much it. That's all it's there. And again, this is in the name of I want it there quickly. I want it there quickly, so I'm going to have just enough addressing to get it there, and that's it. And if I were to look at some of these other protocols that we looked at earlier, I would see a similar thing. Just very, very basic header to get the data there. But also think of things like voice and video. I need to streamline it to get it there. There's UDP, and again, I'm using the example of DNS because I just need the data quickly. I need that answer quickly so I can actually start the data transfer. There's UDP.